Welcome to the online teaching meeting. Thank you for taking the time to join us. I appreciate your willingness to take part in this and to be a part of what we're doing here. We started something last January to do this because we thought, well, there's a couple of things that can happen here. One of those is we get an opportunity to touch base with you and to let you know what we'd like to see with our online classes, but also to give you just a couple of real quick ideas about things that you can do. So at the end of my part, I'm going to turn it over to Kyle, and Kyle will be able to share with you a couple of new ideas, new things that have happened for us within Canvas. So let's jump in. The very first thing I want you to be aware of, we talked about this at the beginning of the summer term, is the definitions that we have here at CBU. This has become really apparent to us as we do our course checks at the beginning of the term. We've discovered a few things. So, yep, I said move forward. All right, so here are the designations. In Banner, when in the registration page, there are these three definitions or three designations, sorry. One of them is hybrid, the next one is OLA, and the third one is OLS. So a hybrid course is something that is specifically describing a course where some sessions take place in person and some sessions take place fully online. So while the in-person meetings may often include blended teaching elements, hybrid courses set the expectation that all students will engage in some parts of the course in person and in other parts of the course online. So that's a hybrid course. For an OLA, that means an online asynchronous course. So students and teachers are not required to be online at the same time. But please don't mistake this for meaning that it is self-paced or correspondence. That's not what we're talking about when we're talking about an online asynchronous course. It means that you as the faculty are going to be interacting with your students, but it's not at a required specific time like the calendar would say a Monday, Wednesday, Friday course at 1:00 p.m. You'll all be online at the same time so that you can give a lecture. That's not an OLA. An OLA, there may be some required face-to-face times where you would be online like office hours. So you would be there, or maybe you would schedule a time to meet with a student 2 or 3 times in a term. That's great. That fits well with an OLA, online asynchronous course. Or you may even want your students to get together in groups. They would set the time for themselves to be there, but that's something that they would set. It's a requirement that they get together, but it's not a time where a lecture is delivered necessarily. An OLS, if an OLA is asynchronous, an OLS is synchronous. So students may be in a physical space or virtually seated in class together, normally using live video conferencing, meeting at the specific times and days as indicated. And if you look at Banner, and I'll show you this here in a moment, if you look at Banner, it will give you the days that is meeting. So be aware of that. So this is what it would look like. This top one is a course that is a synchronous course. And you'll notice there, I believe this was a summer term. It met at 10:30 from 10:30 a.m. until 12:15 p.m. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But it is still listed as an online course. So it is an OLS, an online synchronous course. This bottom one, still the same title, it's Principles of Macroeconomics, but you'll notice it is listed as an asynchronous instructional method. If you look again at Banner, you'll see that there are no times or days that are specified for it, and where is listed as online. So time and days are TBA. All right. So OLA is online asynchronous, OLS online synchronous. We're doing these presentations so that you'll be prepared, thinking ahead of what your students will be experiencing. If any of you in this meeting have not gone through any of our training, it is not too late to do a really quick one. We have something that is called the Online Quick Start, oops, that's backwards, Online Faculty Quick Start Training, the OFQT, Online Faculty Quick Start Training. If you have not taken OFT, which we want everybody to go through, OCD, we'd like people to go through, especially if you're going to be developing courses. If you have not done either of those, then take the Online Faculty Quick Start Training. That will get you quickly in. It will not suffice. It just gets you enough tools that you can perform. And then here on September the 5th, our OFT 5-week long course, OFT will begin. And we'd encourage any of you, if you haven't done that, please think about getting in on that. We want you to do that because it will give you the tools that you need to teach online. It gives you the basic Canvas tools, but it's not so much about teaching you how to use Canvas. It's more about teaching you how to actually teach online, engage with your students. Think about the things that are needed to be engaging and encouraging for the students. We are back, back maybe a year and a half ago, Dr. Hopp posted what our expectations are needed in every course that is online. Actually, every course, whether it's an online course, a hybrid course, or even a traditional course, should have a syllabus included in it in the online classroom. But there are other things, if it's hybrid or OLA or OLS, these 5 things are needed in the online classroom. That is, the home landing page needs to have all of the default language taken out. It used to have the lorem ipsum, but we had that removed. And now there's just some text there, filler text, that encourages the students to contact you. And it also has text there for you to see how you can go about taking care of the home landing page. The syllabus needs to be where the syllabus tab is, and then the contact information about your professor needs to be filled in there. Needs to have a means of assessment and clear instruction with correct dates. So take a few minutes or a little bit now before the semester begins, go through your course, make sure that it is ready to go by the start of the term here in just a few days. Beyond the SLOs, we're wanting to see, and by the way, this is something that is brought to us from our accrediting body, SAC-COC, wants to see interaction between faculty and student and between students. Those things are things that they want to see. And I think it's a good way of getting interaction with your students. It's real easy for students to say this is such a boring class if the faculty is also not engaged. We can put all sorts of recommendations and expectations on the students for them to be engaged, but if the faculty person is not, then it's kind of falling on deaf ears if we're not engaged ourselves. So do all that you can to be engaged in the course. We would love for you to have a 24-hour response to students' questions. Think of it this way. For an online class, your students may or may not be located on the CBU campus. And that is true. Some students take online classes while even living in the dorm. But more than likely, The majority are not living on campus. That distance can feel a bit away, and they can often feel like they are losing contact. So if they send an email to you or a message to you through Canvas, getting a quick response is important for the student to feel like that they're not alone, and that they also have connection with you as the faculty person. So a 24-hour turnaround on a question to you from the students, I don't think is a lot to ask if you have the opportunity to do that. Engagement means engagement in the course with the students, and that can also be through office hours. Having regular office hours where your students know my professor is online and they will be available to me at this time. That's a big benefit. And by the way, just a little word. I was doing a check-in on one of our online courses, and I just happened to notice that one of our faculty members, an adjunct faculty, their office hours were on Thursdays from, I think it was like 2:30 in the afternoon until 3:15, something like that, really odd. Well, if the majority of our students our online students are working during the day, guess what? They're not going to be able to access that faculty. So think about your office hours when you're available to your students, and see if you can make a time when they could access you. Or here's another option: set up a time when you can schedule a time to meet with them, maybe once or twice, 2 or 3 times even throughout the term. If this is an 8-week course, 2 or 3 times would be sufficient, unless they have a major question. Then you can have those times. But that face-to-face moment is a really good point of establishing a relationship with your students. So as you're getting ready for the course to begin, check your course. Look to see if the links and the dates are accurate, that the links are actually working. I noticed a course I was checking just a little bit ago. One link out of all of it was not working. In fact, it went to a Google page that was a help page. Just check your courses. Make sure that the pages load properly, that the content is relevant, and that it is accessible. You might want to check to make sure that your content actually, that the assignments connect to the SLOs, that they have a point, that it's not just an assignment for the mere fun of having an assignment, but that it has a purpose. Maybe it connects to the SLO. Consider putting time to complete. This is, when I first got into online education, we didn't worry about that. That was not a part of us. But as I've seen the development of time over, as I've seen the development of online over these past few years, 20 plus years, I've seen this piece added. It's very helpful for the students so that they can plan their day, they can plan their week. If you have an idea about how much time it would take for a student to complete the discussion, or a student to complete the paper, or a student to complete the test or the exam, put it out to the side in the title of that exam or paper or whatever it is. If you have questions about it, we have something that may be beneficial to you. It is called a seat time calculator. Check with the CDI team, they'll be able to hook you up with that. That's a really useful tool. Class preparation. So as you're getting ready for class anytime now, send a welcome message to your students before the first week. Welcome them to the class. Let them know that you are excited to have them in the class. Encourage them to read the syllabus. You could include the syllabus on the email that you send out to them. Be sure and tell them to order their books. And by the way, I see your hand here. Hang on just a second, Rick. Yeah. If you have books that are physical, so they're not an ebook. Start now. Send a message to your students to contact the bookstore. If you have a physical book, the bookstore will send that out to the students, but they need time to get it to them. So send a message to the students, specify this book is a physical book. You'll want to contact the bookstore and they'll get it to you. Go ahead, Rick.
My question comes back, and I've had this issue a couple times, and I'm not sure I've ever asked this question, but I've thought about it a lot because I have problems with it, is this check your course. I want to go, I moved all my stuff. I get my online course all finished, and then I turn over to students, what it will look like to the students. And how can I turn off the closure so I can't see it? Because once you put dates in there, it only starts at a certain date, which is the first day of classes.
Ah, right. Okay. Let's see. Kyle, Scott, Chantel, any ideas?
Rick, can you just ask that once again? I'm trying to get my head wrapped around.
Okay, so I put together one of my courses for this fall, and I've got all of the data that I want in there.
Yep.
But then I go to student view.
Yeah.
So I can see what they see.
Yeah.
It's not what I see. So I have to go back in there, but I can't see because most of the dates on there are closed until the day of the classes begin.
So in other words, Kyle, that if he goes into student view, because the dates are associated, are closed, the assignment is closed until the class begins, or until that assignment is due. They
Right.
Can't see the assignment. So he's asking, how can he get to see what the students actually see if the assignment is not visible to them?
Oh, you just have to make sure that it's published. So that
Okay, it can be published as the faculty, but when you go to the student view in the modules, you go to student view, and it will not show because I'm a student now, and it doesn't say not until the day's open.
And that's the key. I think that's the key. This is Margaret Coleman. The date that it is open, I open all of my courses at the very first day of class. So if you're going through there opening and closing the classes, if you have one that doesn't start until September 15th, you won't be able to see it. Change that opening date to the very first day sometime in August, and you might be able to see it.
But I can't change the date.
Right.
You can change the date for that class. You can set your beginning and opening date for that module or that class area.
Where do you do that? I've never seen that where you can go in there and I can say my class starts next Monday, 21st. If I've tried the 20th, the 19th.
But do you have your classes broken up into individual weeks or individual, as we call them, modules?
I have them broken up into modules. Yes.
Okay, so, I'm gonna defer to Dale or somebody else now, but that's the way I do mine. Each of mine have a beginning and an ending, but I always start, all of my classes I open them up the very first day of class. The different date is the due date for the assignment. And I can do that for each one of my modules, each of my weeks, each of my chapters.
So Rick, here's what I would recommend that you do. Can I share my screen?
Yep.
Hang on. Well, hang on for a second, Dale. Let me get to a class that actually has some stuff in it. Yeah, I think I've got a workaround for you.
Good.
I think.
What version?
And
I go in there the first night when I open it, and it's not what I intended to have on there.
Yeah. Okay. So, Rick, I do have a solution for you. So let me share my screen real quickly.
Good.
and it's not what you would. Oh, Dale, I actually can't because no, it's okay. But Rick, I can walk you through it. So instead of going into modules, which presumably you're going in and you're taking a look at it that way, am I correct?
No, I'm going in there. Well, I'm doing the modules, but you know, when I'm on my modules and I've published everything,
Yep.
and then I want to see what the students are going to see. You go up to the upper right, upper
Yeah,
right,
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
and it says student view.
Yep. Right.
I want to see if I've got it all in there, and it's going to look like what I intended to look like.
Okay. So here's what I would say, because you're right. If you in modules view in a student view, so I'm logged in as a student and I'm looking at modules, you're right, it'll be blank. But
Right.
what you can do instead as a proxy is click onto the syllabus and click on student view in the syllabus. Any dated assignment, quiz, whatever, anything that has a due date on it is going to show up on that page, irrespective of the time period that you're logging in to see it.
Mm-hmm.
So at least what you can do is you can scroll down and see whether those dates are correct. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I would say, first and foremost, that's important. And then I would probably follow up with Margaret's suggestion is, okay, day of, let's take a look at the modules. But I think if you take a look at syllabus and you look at all of your dated material and those dates seem to be correct from a student view, I'd say you're very far along to making sure that students are going to see the correct information.
Okay, hold on. That sounds really good. But in my modules, it's got, you know, you were talking about student to student activities for them to do.
Yep.
I've got a whole organization. I mean, it's pages of organization, and they start down from the beginning to the end. And it's got, here's the descriptions of what you're doing with each other in that class at that particular day,
Yeah, right.
night. But I can't see what all that stuff is, because whether it's an assignment or whether it's in a module, it all says not open until day opens.
Yeah.
Can I make a suggestion here? So I'm part of the presentation here in just a minute is to encourage everybody to contact CDI. If your course is ready to go, we can do a really quick pre-check, which is what we do anyway, but we do it on Monday morning.
Yeah.
If you would like us to do that ahead of time, send to CDI your course, and Rick in specific, send your course in to CDI and they'll take a look at it and help you out, hopefully be able to answer your question. They may want to schedule a time with you to talk through what you're talking about.
But unless you open it up so I can see it, you'll be seeing what you can see, but I can't see it because it's not opened yet. So
Yeah.
I'm going to go, you're going to have to describe all of this. It'll take days to do all of that stuff.
Now they can get in as you, and they can run through the course just as you would, as you are.
Yes, but I ain't what you are, and you ain't what I am, because you're going to tell me what it says, and I'm going to be like one of the students going, but what does that look like?
Yeah, so they can do a share screen with you, and just like we're doing here, and walk through it with you.
Well, here's another thing. Is there any way, or is the start date of the courses, everybody starts on Monday?
Correct.
So is there any way to start? You used to be able to close, it starts on Saturday, or it starts on the Friday beforehand. Because can you break that back a little bit and say the opening days? Because what's the problem if our students can start opening those things up, especially in the 8-week sessions? I've had people calling me up, what are the books? What are this? What are these things? I haven't sent out a syllabus yet. They want to get started A week before the classes start.
That's what I'm talking about, Rick. Send out this welcome message today. Send it out now. And the sooner you send it out to them, the sooner they can get to what you're talking about.
But Dale, the problem is that even if he sends it out today, and I'm having that same problem, there's sometimes some things I was in there designing today, it won't let me put an earlier start date.
Right.
The course start is the 21st,
Correct.
and that's where it's. But we have students, if they're going to do it, they like to go out there and look at it and see what it is. We used to could start. I even tried to do this Friday or this Saturday.
Saturday.
Let us do it.
This is something that is connected with two things. This is, first of all, policy of the institution. All courses start on in this case, August 21st. That's when students have access. The second thing is, you're right. It is a programming issue that comes to us from Banner through. Anyway, it comes from Banner that's set in Banner and that's put into Canvas. That is something that comes from the registrar's office. Now, we have toyed with some ideas here, and we may be able to do some changing in the future. We can't take care of it right now, but there may be something that we can do to address this in the future. And we have talked about, as a CDI team, about some options for that.
Change the name. Just say it's a preview. We're going to show you what we're going to show you a week ahead before class starts. And I understand that, but I don't like it, that just because you've opened it up for those students who want to start early, they've paid their tuition, they're all signed up for it. Are they going to look and then they're going to decide, I don't want to take your class because it's got too much? Or is that what they're afraid of? I don't understand what that is.
No, it's actually an accrediting issue, believe it or not. Courses have to start. Yeah. Chantel, did I see your hand?
I meant to give a thumbs up when Rick Potts mentioned the preview. I like that. Thumbs up. Yeah, the preview. Yeah.
Good idea. Okay, let's go on so I can make sure that James is able to get out in time to go pick his son up. Okay, so here we are. What you can expect from us. So responsiveness to requests. We pride ourselves on being responsive to our faculty and to our students for that matter. So you send us an email and we're going to get back to you just as quick as we possibly can. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of a warning. Kyle scared us a little bit in our meeting this morning. He happened to go into the CDI mailbox and found it was loaded, and he got a little bit freaked out. Everything's all taken care of. We're good. We're back on track. We weren't off track. It's just frightening. At this time of year, there's a lot of things that are anxiety building for you as a faculty person, for your students. And because it's anxiety building for you and your students, guess who gets to feel that anxiety? We do. So just understand, at this time, between now and probably next Wednesday, or perhaps even as late as next Friday, send your emails, contact us, do all of that. Just know we're going to respond just as quick as we can. It may be a little slower than what we would like at this point. The second thing is, I really do want to emphasize this. The pre-semester checks, we go into every course just to make sure that they're ready. Beginning next Monday, we go through every online course. We also go through every hybrid course. So hybrid, OLA, and OLS, we go in and check to make sure that they're ready to go. It's not to see if you're doing your job. It's to see that our students have something to go into so that they know what they're doing when they get in there. So if your course is ready, please send that to us and we can help you get your course proofed that it is ready to go at the start of the term. Also, we have training opportunities. We're working on all sorts of new training opportunities for you. And Kyle will tell you about that here in just a moment. What we expect from you, that the courses are developed at the highest recognized standard, that you are prepared, that your course is populated, and that you continue to grow in your skill and the craft of teaching online. That's what we want to see from you. Just a little bit of helps here. We do have our newsletter that we send out on a monthly basis. We also have a couple of podcasts. The LaSallian Way Online is outward facing. That means you don't have to sign in to get to it. But the Community of Inquiry, that is another one that is also monthly, but you do have to be within our network, signed in to be able to get to that. If you want to see our webpage with all sorts of other resources, go to cbudigital.org. cbudigital.org. There are all sorts of plenty of helps there that you can find that will help you as you prepare. There's links to documents. There's links to, let's see, Kyle, help me out. Things you need to know. No, that's not it. What's the name of that document that has everything about Canvas?
Oh, how to do stuff in Canvas.
That's the one. How to do stuff in Canvas.
Because we like the word stuff.
Yes, a really great name for a document.
Highly technical.
And it is loaded. Let me tell you, it is loaded with things to help you. Some important contacts and links. If you want to get a hold of folks in Global College, all one word, at cbu.edu, or you can call extension 3291 for help with any of your Canvas or online instruction. You can send an email to cdi@cbu.edu or call extension 4004. Now, I'm going to turn this over to Kyle. Kyle, I'm going to give you presenter access here.
Yeah, right. I need sharing permission.
Yep.
Thank you, by the way.
Whoops.
I got it. Yay. Thank you, Dale.
Yeah. You
okay.
bet.
First things first, folks, I'm going to make this pretty quick. Kyle Popper here. I'm one of the instructional designers on the CDI team. I'm going to share my screen. And the first thing I'm going to say is, a lot of those links that Dale just mentioned are available at our little private Idaho on the MyCBU site. And if we scroll down here we are, Center for Digital Instruction. If you click that, the training opportunities, of course, my internet's super slow now when I need it to be fast. The training opportunities that Dale mentioned are outlined here, both synchronous, guided, and then kind of asynchronous things that you could take on your own. Couple of different forms here. Also our LaSallian Way Online, which Dale mentioned, which is our public podcast, and then a community inquiry, which is our kind of internal dialogue among faculty and staff. Both of those YouTube channels are available via link here. And then, this is where kind of we all live as well. So that's the first thing. The second bit that I want to mention, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen. There we go. Sorry. I lost my place here for a minute. The second thing that I want to share with you, and I'm going to throw it into the chat, and that is a webinar that we just finished, and that is about how to cleanly import content from a previous Canvas course into a current Canvas course, avoiding duplication, and how to kind of solve that duplication problem that I know sometimes frustrates us and confounds us. So I talk about in that webinar, in that link, I talk about why it is that we experience that, and there are some good reasons for that. What we intend to do about it in the future is we're working on a new process, which we're intend to roll out in October. But then most importantly, how do I avoid it right now as I'm importing my course material? The last two things I want to mention, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to share my screen again, are two new-ish developments in Canvas. And the first one, and I don't know if anybody has checked it out yet. I think it's been available to us for about, I want to say 8 or 9 months, and that is New Analytics. It's a new kind of suite of reports that are available to us just at the touch of a button. And I know, having worked with faculty in the past, sometimes you want to see, can I get a detailed report on a student, a particular student's activity, for example? That's a fairly common request. Well, before New Analytics, you honestly probably needed to come to us, and we had to go on the back end and generate a spreadsheet report for you, and then kind of reformat the spreadsheet so it ish made sense, and then emailed it to you. Well, now in New Analytics, it's really just available to you at the touch of the button. So it is here. It is a part of every one of our courses in the course menu. If we click on it, now I don't have a whole lot of students in here, but we get sort of a quick grade view, a quick view of our students' online activities, and any resources that have been accessed and how many students have accessed that. Most importantly, I think, is we can click on, Scott, I didn't ask your permission to do this, but I'm going to do it anyhow. We can kind of click into a student and see, okay, quickly, how many page views, how many participations. Participations, by the way, is like when the student has entered something that they are supposed to enter, whether it be responding to a quiz or a discussion or an assignment or so on and so forth. And you can also get some pretty nifty detailed reports just at the touch of a button now. Missing assignment reports quickly, late assignment reports for those of you that might want to run those, sort of close to midterm time, close to final exam time maybe, and reach out and touch a couple of your students there with a little happy saying, hey, you've got 10 late assignments. Those reports now are easily available in the context of New Analytics. So I just wanted to help you to that. The other tool that is pretty brand new to Canvas is a chat feature. It is by default, it is disabled in our courses. We wanted to kind of set it at that until we had an opportunity to talk to you all about it and what it is. Let me show you how to enable it if you are interested. It operates, by the way, just as a very simple chat feature, like I don't know, any chat that we might participate in a Facebook chat maybe, or any other kind of chat. It's not fancy, but I would, if I were still teaching now, I would enable it, and I would use it for quick questions that students might have as they come up. They can enter it in the chat. Maybe another student can field an answer, or next time when I log into my course, I'll probably do that too. But here it is. It's in settings, and then we go to navigation. And because it is disabled by default now, we have to enable it. So we have to come down probably towards the bottom of this list. And there it is. There's chat. So I can either click and drag it up to the top to enable it, or what's easier is you just click the ellipsis here and enable it. And that's going to move it up to the visible portion of your course menu. Do not, ladies and gentlemen, do not, if you do this, forget to come down again and click save, right? Because if you forget to do that, as I have done probably 100 times, you're thinking, well, what, Canvas, what's wrong, right? Well, I didn't click save. And so now that I've saved, and I'm just going to do a quick refresh, we'll see chat right here. And again, when I open it up, folks, it is a very, very simple chat feature. So you see the text box down here, just type in and press send. This is the same interface for faculty as well as students. I think it would be a good place to put all of our kind of Q&A that might be ongoing throughout the course. It's also a great opportunity just to enable it and to open students up to an opportunity to chat amongst themselves. So again, just wanted to make you help you to those 2-ish new Canvas features. And also just to say, if you have any questions about anything that you've seen or anything that Canvas related, feel free to get a hold of us at any time. Dale, how's that? Was I quick?
Excellent. Perfect.
Okay.
So
Tried to be.
If you have a question, you're welcome to ask that now. I know that some of you need to leave. James, I know that you're needing to head out the door. So if you need to leave, thank you for joining us. We appreciate your contribution to this night, made it possible. So if there's anybody that has a question, feel free to ask away.
Scott just chatted me in the chat course. It's the very first time. Scott, I thank you so much. It's the very first time I've actually used the feature. I feel really good now. I feel like a seasoned veteran. I'm ready to
Nice.
I'm ready to go, right? I've seen all the bells and whistles now.
All right. Anybody else? Yes.
No, I'm just saying, I'm waving goodbye.
Oh, you're waving goodbye. Okay.
Hey,
Thanks,
Rick, real quickly, I just sent you an email. Let's set up a time, maybe sometime this week, and we can chat about some of those questions. I want to sit with you for a little bit one-on-one. So if you just look at your email, you've got an email from me waiting.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem. Looking forward to seeing you.
You got it.